Stop the pump, isolate chemical lines, and follow individual company lockout procedures for safety. Locate the 4 M8 bolts that hold the topworks onto the gearbox and remove. Set the bolts aside and pull the topworks up and off of the gearbox shaft. To remove the gearbox, start by accessing the gearbox collar that grips the motor through the 2 plugs on either side. They are 180 degrees opposite each other. Remove the plastic or metal dust plug, rotate the pump to access the other side, and repeat. Use a flashlight for visibility and find the interior collar bolt. Loosen the bolt with a 5mm Allen key. Turn the pump and repeat on the other side. Now that your collar is loosened, undo the 4 bolts holding the gearbox onto the motor. Set the bolts aside. Pull the gearbox up and off of the motor. Now, locate your new gearbox or the gearbox that you wish to install. Look on the bottom of the gearbox where you will see the collar. The easiest thing to do is to rotate that collar to align the 2 collar bolts with those plug holes before putting it back onto the motor. Once aligned, drop the gearbox onto the motor and align the 4 holes. Reinstall the 4 bolts with the lock washers and flat washers and tighten in a crosshatch pattern. Go back and forth until all 4 are snug. Next, we are going to tighten those collar bolts. The bolts should already be aligned with those plug holes. To tighten the bolts, it's critical that you go back and forth between the 2 sides, tightening in small increments until both sides are finger tight. It's critical that you do not fully tighten one side and then the other, as that will cause misalignment and damage to the gearbox bearings. Once finger tight, please tighten until secure or 80 inch-pounds if you have a torque wrench available. Reinsert the plugs into the side of the gearbox. Locate your topworks and reinstall it. Line up that hex shaft with the hex cam in the topworks and drop your topworks down. Lastly, locate the 4 M8 bolts and tighten in a crosshatched pattern. As always, please complete a manual rotation.